A massive thank you to Hamza, MXW, Asko, Saab and Alex for subscribing to the channel. If you want to be featured in these clips, make sure you subscribe down below. Hello everyone and welcome back guys to a brand new video where today we're here back with the finale of Season 4 of the F1 2021 My Team Career Mode. Yes, today we're here back ready for the Brazilian Grand Prix and I don't know what it is, it just feels right that we have a championship decider back here in Interlagos. But of course, once again, I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday season, of course. We're back, though, with more F1 2021, of course, as we roll into the new year. Thank you all as well for the insane support. Obviously, we've ticked over 30,000 subscribers. We're almost at 31k now. You guys are just still absolutely smashing it out of the park. So, yeah, a massive thank you. You know, 2022, we've got some big goals, some big plans that hopefully you guys are going to enjoy as well there. But, yeah, moving, though, into the final race weekend of the year. Still plenty to play for, of course. Max Verstappen crowned as world champion. Red Bull now crowned as constructors champions there. But we could still jump Yuki Tsunoda. We only need to outscore the Mercedes man by just 12 points this weekend. And we could also jump Mercedes in the all-important constructors battle. They're 19 points back behind the Silver Arrows at this late stage of the campaign. So us versus Mercedes this weekend. It's technically we could still lose out to Perez and Hamilton in the Drivers' Championship, but whether we come second, third, fourth or fifth, I'd argue it's been a really, really strong campaign from ourselves as well. They can see all of the Drivers' and Constructors' Championship standings as well. You know, Williams had a really, really strong start to the year, gave them those critical points. Their Alpine have scored just 2 points all year. It really has been a fall from grace for them. But yeah, Max Verstappen and Red Bull already world champions. Let's dive in then here to the Brazilian Grand Prix. Well, here we are then, back in an actual Formula 1 car here on F1 2021. I'm having so much fun doing the F2 series, but those cars are certainly a very, very different kettle of fish on this game. But of course, yeah, massive thank you to all of you guys as well that have enjoyed the start of our Oscar Piastri F2 career mode as well. That's been an absolute blast to try and do in the early stages. But, you know, back to more important things this weekend. Of course, my team, still the flagship series on the channel here is, yeah, the final race of the campaign. Always a good fun one, especially as we head back to Interlagos this weekend. But yeah, first of all, diving into the ERS program. Trying to just sort of work out some better setups for us at the moment. I'm trying to run a bit more aero and things like that to see if it helps us stay a little bit closer to the AI. But of course, the last Honda power unit upgrade really has come in clutch now and meant that we can properly fight with Red Bull and Mercedes as proven last weekend. But Ferrari as well, really starting to get with the front runners as well here as we head through Jungsao. Let's just see if we can try and use some battery up towards the start-finish line here. Give us the boost we need. Make sure we keep the dial in the purple though as we head up towards the start-finish line. And that is going to be the purple score then by a good couple of tenths and still pretty much a full bar as well. And coming towards the final corner then of our qualifying simulation run. This is looking really strong. Car feels to be really sticking to the road this weekend, and that's going to be another purple score. Not really worried about the R&D points, just more about the confidence.
Program complete and a job well done. We got some excellent data with that run, so come on back to the garage and I can talk you through the numbers.
Well, there we go. That is certainly exactly how we needed to start the weekend. Let's get into qualifying then here at the Brazilian Grand Prix. Right, well, qualifying day then here in Interlagos, and it's looking like a rather damp one, as you come to expect in November here in Brazil. But fingers crossed, we can just try and keep it clean and tidy. We've given ourselves enough time to do 2 laps on the intermediates there. Didn't really think it was worth going out on the full wets because the pace just isn't going to be there on them. Early on in the session, the track was always going to start getting a little bit better, and the tyres were always going to come this way. So yeah, we just need to try and get a good banker in first of all, and then see if we need to chase any more time. But then again, of course, I'm very much expecting it to be the typical 6 that don't make it out of Q1 here, of course. Both Alphas, both Williams and both Haas cars. Like I always keep saying, such a shame to see they have all fallen away from the rest of the field in recent weeks. Certainly won't be expecting the same thing to happen in the Williams Road to Glory, of course. That will be back with its finale tomorrow, for those of you guys that are wondering as well. Plenty of stuff going on the channel as we roll into the new year, but oh, that's not quite the line we want there. Probably need to be worrying a little bit more about this qualifying lap rather than what videos are going to be going live over the next few days. Down the hill we go though. just braking at the 100-meter board there. We're 3 seconds up on Antonio Giovinazzi's time at the moment, but I'm definitely going to have to do the second lap, just because we don't really know what the pace is going to be like, you know, whether the track's going to dry out even more. It's always one of those things where you just want to be out on a lap right as the session comes to a close there. 1:14 is actually fastest.
Fantastic. That was the fastest lap.
Okay, so we should be safely through them, because of course there's so many cars in the pit lane. We can't lose that many positions, but we may as well do this second lap and try and find a bit more. Again, heading out of the final corner then, another 6/10 up. Purple in Sector 1, purple in Sector 2. I don't think we're going to quite find the pace to go purple in Sector 3, but this could generate a little bit of a mix-up in the grid if all the bottom guys are going out for another run. Are we going to see a change-up as we go faster by even more? And there we go then, you can see just how mixed up it is by the end of Q1 there. Myself fastest, 4/10 clear of Esteban Ocon. Remember, he hasn't scored a point all year. And then Lance Stroll in P3 there. Verstappen in 4th. Both Mercs making it through as well there. Any shocks? Guan Yu Zhou out in Q1. George Russell out in Q1 as well there. So not ideal for the AlphaTauri and the Aston Martin there, as Latifi and Giovinazzi both sneak it through on the intermediates. So there was a little bit of a change up of the order there. Let's dive into Q2. I must admit, I do love to watch qualifying days like this, where, you know, the track's always changing, and you can always spring a few surprises here. But let's just see if we can try and get a good lap in on another set of intermediates here. We've got about 6 minutes left on the clock. Track is still definitely drying out. So again, you want to be out there as late as possible in Q2. But yeah, let's just wait and see then. We've got to try and get this first lap in. And then it's a case of whether we box immediately and make sure we're right there right at the end of the session, or whether we think we're going to have enough pace to carry ourselves through. Out of Q1, tied to the 1000th with Esteban Ocon. Don't see that all too often. Now we're a 10th up on Esteban, and we're certainly learning a lot about the track there as well. Big snap of oversteer as we try to put on the power at the final corner. That's going to cost us a bit of momentum all the way up towards the start-finish line here. What is the time going to be? Shortest run to the flag. It's only going to be 11th place there on a 13.0. But there is definitely a lot more pace to find. Now, of the final corner there, putting down the power a lot better that time round, but it's still only going to be a couple of tenths up by the time we get to the line there, so it's not worth finishing that lap. We may as well get out there on a fresh set, but now it's do or die towards the end of Q2 here. We need to see ourselves into Q3 if we want any chance of beating Yuki Tsunoda. And this session has now become do or die for us. Still sat in P11 at the moment, a few tenths away from the McLarens, and we need to try and get this lap completely hooked up. Longest run to the start-finish line gives us the most chance to build up momentum. And let's start our final qualifying lap then here in Q2. Bit of a snag down through turn 1 as we head through the centre S there. That was a lot of curb on the exit there. I cannot argue against that. Roll on the power though as we head down the Esquina del Lago here. About half-tenth up at the moment. Brake just after the 100-meter board there as you see that little bit of tarmac. And then really try and launch the car down in towards the bottom of the bowl there. Nearly a tenth up now as we head up the other side, braking down 3 gears at the 50. Get the car rotated over, so important, you late apex there. And get the straightest run down in towards this next horrible little right-hander there. Plunge it through the hairpin of the left, and then try and really roll on the power on the exit there. Back end tries to fight away from us. Small lock-up as well, but third gear on the exits. Oh, the car, it's just really struggling here. I wonder if the track's just getting a little bit too dry for these intermediates to really work at their optimum here. Through the final corners, though, of this qualifying lap there. Really roll on the power nicely that time, but we're not going to find the time. The track has got too dry for these intermediates to be effective there. And as we head up towards the start-finish line, we are going to improve, but it's only going to be by thousandths, and it's 14th on the grid for the Brazilian Grand Prix. That is heartbreaking. So from fastest in FP1 there, and look at that! Drivers went out on intermediates there. That's why they find the time. So both Alpines and Pierre Gasly there inside the top 5. Giovinazzi makes it through into Q3 there, and that is a heartbreaking end to qualifying for us there. You can see Yuki Tsunoda didn't have a particularly good run either. They're down in P11, so plenty of drivers making mistakes. But I said qualifying sessions like this can be wildly unpredictable there, and we have certainly been knocked out in Q2 there. 14th place on the grid for the Brazilian Grand Prix, but we have got a mixed up order. Let's dive in then here to the Brazilian Grand Prix. Remember, 12 points over Yuki Tsunoda is all we need.
Welcome along then to the place where heroes and history are made. It's where the 2008 title was decided in the final corner. And it's the place, a year later, that Jenson Button stormed through from 14th on the grid to claim his one and only Drivers' Championship. It's Interlagos, and it's time for the Brazilian Grand Prix. We're racing today then at Interlagos, a historic 2.7-mile circuit, and one of the few anti-clockwise tracks on the calendar. 15 corners in total, 9 to the left and 6 to the right, with a technical middle section opening up to a flat-out Sector 3. And that gives us our best passing opportunity down into Turn 1. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he starts from pole position, edging out Sergio Perez, who lines up P2. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Sainz, Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton and Ocon, Mazepin, Tsunoda, Norris. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty, and Valtteri Bottas, Mr. Monaco, Stroll, Callum Ilott, and Gasly, Russell, Mick Schumacher, Antonio Giovinazzi, and Christian Lundgaard. Schwartzman, Joe. They've taken a grid penalty. Ricciardo and Nicholas Latifi. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head to trackside for today's race.
Let's aim for a strong finish to the season.
Well, team couldn't have summed it up much better there. Not particularly sure why he's not hyped up here, because we could still take P2 in the championship, but one of the most mixed up grids I think I've ever seen on F1 2021 in a career mode race here. So we'll wait and see as to what happens in this one today. Gonna try the one-stop soft to mediums here, always the way to go in Interlagos, especially when we got a car that's as good on its tyres as this one is. They'll obviously underfuel the car by basically everything we can now at this stage of the game. They're 4.5 laps under on fuel. That should be absolutely fine. This thing is, you know, it likes to just, you know, sip away at the fuel at this stage of the game there. But P11 on the grid then for the final race of the year. Remember, 12 points over Yuki Tsunoda. So if we win, we need him not to get a podium. But I'm not too sure a win's going to be on the cards this weekend. 5 red lights for the final time. And it's lights out. And away we go. Oh, Stroll there got off to a rocket ship start. Same can be said for Gasly. As all, we have a bit of contact with Callum Ilott there in his Williams down through turn 1. Looks like, oh, where we found the pace there. Around the outside of Pierre Gasly once more there, but neither Lando or myself getting off to a particularly good start there to the Grand Prix. Gasly launches it down the hill in towards the Assetto Corsa there. He does have a look at the inside of Lando as all. We had George Russell, who started right towards the rear of the field there, going for a big old send, but thought better of it right at the very last moment there. But Red Bull 1-2 as we head up the hill for the first time here, and they're just, yeah, in flying formation. As that, I always forget. Right there is where the AI likes Constantina up on lap 1. But yeah, we're just trying to build up a little bit of temperature in the rubber, of course. Haven't had much dry running this weekend. So it just kind of seems weird, you know. You're sort of like half throttling in places where you can probably keep it pinned, like there. Pierre Gasly really struggling to get the car rotated down in towards and set himself up for Jung Sao. But then out of the final corner, that AlphaTauri just absolutely rockets in the traction zones there. Sergio Perez, though, leads at the end of lap 1 there. 2 wins on the bounce. Is he about to mount a championship challenge in Season 3? Only time will tell, as Stroll and Valtteri Bottas just in front of us there, as Mazepin maybe flying a bit too close to the sun at the moment, up in P8. His teammate even further up the order. They're trying to keep the Mercedes at bay in P5. But yeah, it's both Red Bulls, both Ferraris at the front of the field there. Ocon and then both Mercs. And then Nikita Mazepin, Stroll and Bottas rounding out our top 10. Ooh, around the outside of Pierre Gasly there. Just kind of found the opening. We will make the move work on the AlphaTauri and send him back down into 13th. That's what we like to see. And next up, yeah, is our teammate Lando Norris. Around the outside of Norris? No, not quite there. I was going to say that would be an even less likely move than the one we just pulled off on Gasly. But out of the final corner once more, Perez, look at the way he's romping away at the end of lap 2 here. Sergio Perez is a man on a mission at the moment. And yeah, he is looking formidable as we look towards Season 5 of this career mode.
This lap, you can use it when within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
thought about the send on our teammate, but realised he was never going to give us the room. There's now Lance Stroll, just the man in front of us there. He got mugged by our teammate Lando Norris as he tried to battle it out with Valtteri Bottas, and we're going to have a look at the inside. Very, very aggressive move there. Stroll not willing to give an inch, but we do make the move stick.
Made it look easy.
Team happy with that, and therefore so am I, as my golden rule on F1 2021. But DRS now enabled here. And yeah, let's just see if that's going to make overtaking any easier. I think we're all just going to be trying to line up one by one to make a move on the key to Mazepin there, as Valtteri Bottas all in the wheel tracks of the Russian driver.
Okay.
Back in towards turn one.
Conserving fuel, please, or we won't be finishing today.
Team worried about the fuel. I, however, am not, as Mazepin there does defend from Valtteri Bottas through the centre S there as we head down the Assetto Corsa once more, though. Bottas one way, Norris the other, 3 wide in front of me here as we head down in towards turn 4 there. Mazepin and Valtteri Bottas come together. Lando's left with no space on the exit, and this is frantic racing at the start of the Brazilian Grand Prix there. This is like sprint racing in touring cars or something like that. 3 wide down at the bottom of the hill there. Plenty of wheel-to-wheel contact, but we all come out scot-free. So around the outside of Lando we go. Again, not quite able to make anything work there, but we'll have another look at the inside. And that time round, we might pull off the move on our teammate. Yes, we do. Up into P10 now here in Brazil as Ocon at the road, still defending from both Mercs there. And that's what we like to see ahead of Yuki Tsunoda. But is Bottas now going to be able to get the run on Mazepin out of the final corner here? Plenty of action early on here in Interlagos there, but is Bottas going to look to the outside? Yes, he is once more. Bottas and Mazepin side by side in towards turn 1, and we're just going to look to try and capitalise on the exit there. Oh, Bottas gives him the room. Lando might be able to get a good run on him as well, as Lando Norris, yeah, he's going to come back at me here. Bottas to the inside, Mazepin to the inside. We're going to find an avenue down around the outside there, really, really late on the brakes, but we get it stopped. And that's a cheeky double overtake round the outside there. Rather happy with that one. And we're up into 8th place. Now let's get up towards Ocon, who as soon as I said that, lost the place to both the Mercs. Almost into the DRS range now of Esteban Ocon. We're only a couple of laps later on. But Mazepin, yeah, has already fallen outside the points there. And I don't think Ocon is going to be too far behind him here. Still such a shame to see the Alpine downfall.
Come on, we know you can do it.
Team with some actual motivation this weekend. I'm loving that from Jeff. But yeah, let's just keep our head down. Right, come on then. Esteban Ocon out the final corner, back up towards the start-finish line. If things were to finish now, we'd actually end up 4th in the championship behind Sergio Perez, because he is just dominating this race early on. But to the outside of the Alpine, team trying to recommend a strat change as we're trying to go around the outside of Esteban Ocon, hang him out to dry on the exit of turn 2, and that's what we like to see. Team now confirming the 1 stop, but we're going to go a little bit earlier than that. No reason to do half a Grand Prix on these tyres, as the Mercs still actually battling up the road. Hamilton trying to defend from Tsunoda. But let's just see how long that can continue and whether they can slow each other up. Well, rather reassuring to see, despite Tsunoda with the DRS, that we are just taking a little bit out of the cars in front. Team still worried about what Bottas behind is doing, but yeah, we're definitely a few tenths quicker than the Mercs at the moment. The case today is going to be what's going to happen with strategy, because of course some of the top guys of course made it into Q3 on those soft tyres there, which would have certainly taken a hammering at the end of Q2. So yeah, there could be some mixed up strategies today. Perhaps that's why Perez is on the run, because of course I know Verstappen made it through on Inters. Not too sure about Hamilton, but of course Tsunoda, yeah, didn't make Q3 but started inside the top 10 by virtue of penalties. A lot of strategy to play for today, and of course a lot of points and prize money as well. I think both the Mercs are starting to struggle a bit more on their tyres. Of course, Yuki has been sat in a lot of dirty air for quite a few laps there as we make our first mistake. Actually, a few laps here. It's really just been pushing like crazy to try and close up to the back of these Mercs, but still yet to see any of the top runners pit. As soon as I say that, one of the Ferraris, the first one to blink then. Hamilton as well into the pits at the end of lap 14, so not too sure whether they're going hards. Oh, there we go then. Lando and Bottas as well in. So we have got a smattering of cars into the pits. Are they going to go hards to the end of the Grand Prix there? As that was a big slide through turn 1. Yes, they are. So that could give us a big advantage later on in the race. Of course, yeah, the hard tyres just don't really work around Interlagos in my experience. So let's just wait and see then. And neither Red Bull again into the pit lane here. So both Red Bulls really trying to extend their stint. Sainz and Tsunoda into the box as well there. So is Red Bull trying to do the same strat as us? No, Verstappen's on mediums.
You'll be on the mediums.
So that's why Verstappen struggled so much then early on in this race. Checo on the softs, of course, the king of saving his tyres. But yeah, that's rather interesting then from Max Verstappen. So is he going to go medium softs, or is he going to have to go medium hards here? There we go, rather predictably, Checo into the box at the end of the next lap. We're going to just go one lap longer on this set of tyres there. So Verstappen now leads the way for the first time today. I think for the first time in actually a few Grand Prix now since becoming world champion. It has just been the Checo show since then. But yeah, we're just going to confirm to the team we're going to box at the end of this one.
Confirmed, we'll receive you at the end of this lap.
As you can just see how hard we're pushing there. Perez has gone mediums, so he's certainly picked the optimum strategy here. But will Verstappen do the same but the opposite? Well, if we see Verstappen box now, he's going on to hards. If we don't see him box now, he's probably going on to softs there. He's running a bit wide out of Jung Sao, and Verstappen does stay out another lap then. So I think he's going for the alternate strategy. Make sure we get it slowed down, which we do rather tidily in the end there. But still, yeah, you can see we've gained most of that fuel back already as we cross the halfway stage of the GP. Looks like one of the Mercs has been held up slightly by Lance Stroll. So we need to try and get a nice tidy run out of the pit lane there. That is... oh no, it's George Russell, sorry, and it's Yuki Tsunoda. Where are we going to come out then in comparison to little Yuki?
The white line on the exit. We'll receive a penalty for dangerous driving if you cross over into the track.
We are going to come out just behind him, but we have taken a bit of time out of the Merc. And of course, remember now, we're on softer, fresher rubber here. We've slotted back out exactly where we were, and that's really, really important. Alright, come on then, Yuki Tsunoda. We've romped up to the back of him on these fresh tyres. DRS activated. He's actually lost the draft to his teammate Lewis Hamilton at the moment, so Tsunoda is going to be vulnerable here. Goes defensive. We go to the inside, though, still. A lot of movement from Yuki Tsunoda in the braking zone, but nothing he can do there. Completely backs out of it before we even get into turn 2 there, and Yuki Tsunoda has been dispatched of, and now we need to keep trying to gain places and hope he doesn't do the same if we want to try and take P2 away in this championship. Hamilton now next car at the road. See if we can get within the range of him, which immediately it looks like we will. This car can be so well planted around certain Grand Prix circuits, but it can be such an enigma at others. At the final corner, though, all over the back of Lewis Hamilton, we're even closer than we were to Yuki Tsunoda last time around here, so it doesn't even matter if Hamilton goes defensive, which he's going to anyway. To the outside we go. Fastest lap of the day.
Great work. That's a new fastest lap of the race.
And clean around the outside of the Merc there. Both Mercs disposed of inside a lap. Not too many people can claim that, as now we've got to try and close up to Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc. But I can't help but feel Max Verstappen or Sergio Perez is going to screw us later on, unless they have issues, because we just might not be able to gain the points we need over Tsunoda. Oh, we got yellow flags out. Someone has got issues then. I think it's one of the back markers. Oh yeah, it's an Alfa Romeo. So more and more reliability woes for Antonio Giovinazzi there out of the Brazilian Grand Prix.
To get to the end of the race on these tyres.
As Verstappen has now come back out. That could have been a really good time to have a safety car for us.
Okay, clear.
But yeah, Giovinazzi out of the Grand Prix. Verstappen still in P2 though, ahead of the Ferraris. Max Verstappen sets a 1:05.1. That is a ridiculous time from the Red Bull there in race trim, remember. That's probably what 1:03's in qualifying pace from the young Dutchman there, but we have got an absolute cluster of cars just in front of us as we head down through turn 1 there. They've really held up Carlos Sainz, as Robert Schwartzman is going to back out of the way there. Lundgaard, though, is not going to do the same as we head down the Esquina de Largo here. Yes, he is, but not in a particularly great place. That's 2 disposed of. Mick Schumacher's going to jump out of the way as well, so I can't really complain there. We've gained a lot of time on Sainz throughout all those lapped cars. And yeah, the gap to the Ferrari now less than 2 seconds, with 13 to go. Verstappen of 1:05 dead. That is just insanity from that Red Bull. And yeah, I like to believe we might have a chance next year, but Red Bull are looking OP to hell.
It is 1.5 seconds.
Definitely now in the DRS range of Carlos Sainz, as he's just hovering at 1.2 behind his teammate Charles Leclerc. Let's just wait and see though as we head down the hill. Big old wobble. Trying to get the best run we possibly can out of Jung Sao once more. 6/10 back from Carlos Sainz. The Ferrari isn't the best car down the straights, but isn't the worst by any means either. Let's just wait and see how much we gain on him as we head back up towards the start-finish line here. We do gain a good 3/4 tenths. Not quite close enough there to go for a run, but can we get a good line out of the centre S? Carlos Sainz, yeah, definitely feeling the pressure there all over the curbing on the exit there as we head down the Assetto Corsa once more. 3 tenths back, 2 tenths back. We're gaining, we're gaining, we're gaining. Oh, Carlos Sainz, though, moves around right at the last moment. Decides to go defensive there. A little bit of contact between myself and the Ferrari as we try and put the power down up the hill. Up the inside we look. But again, I don't think Carlos Sainz is going to let us have that with any ease. We will, however, have that if he goes for a wobble. And there we go, past Carlos Sainz. The Spaniard now moved down to 5th place here.
Brilliant. Nice move.
As the team, yeah, rather happy with that one. But that got a little bit sketchy with young Carlos. There is Charles Leclerc, less than 2 seconds up the road. 10 laps to go here in the final race of the campaign. And this one has felt like 26 qualifying laps up to now. Verstappen, though, gets the run on Perez. And I think that was always going to be a move that was going to happen there. Verstappen just fastest lap after fastest lap at the moment. And yeah, it looks like he hasn't pulled off the move just yet. But surely as they head down in the Assetto Corsa once more, he's going to pull that move off, which he is. Sergio Perez, 2 wins in a row, is not going to make it 3 here as Verstappen takes the lead and is probably about to romp off into the distance in the final race of the campaign in similar fashion to how he's really dominated this season. Right, all over the back now of Charles Leclerc. Are we going to see him defend in the same way his teammate Carlos Sainz has tried to over the last couple of laps? Only time will tell. There's actually the gap to Perez. He's coming down ever so slightly, so it does go to show. On similar trim, we have got the pace to match the Red Bulls at the moment, as we now get some DRS off Charles Leclerc here. We actually took, yeah, a good half a second out of Checo on that lap there. Not going to be close enough to Charles in towards turn 1. But maybe we can get a good run out of the centre S again, not if we lock up on the way in. Tap the curbs, though, through the middle part. Really roll on the ERS and the power early on the exit. But I don't think we're quite going to be in range this time around. 7.5 laps to go here from Brazil. And surely, yeah, it's going to be a podium, or at least going to have a look at a podium, from 14th on the grid. We desperately need to sort out our qualifying pace. That will be the key if we want to battle for a title next season. And about to start lap 30 then, Charles Leclerc and Ferrari have really improved over the course of this season. It's really been a comeback story from them, from not even able to score points early on in the year to being able to fight right back towards the front and for podiums here with just a couple of races to go. But to the inside of Charles Leclerc. Oh, again, he moves around in the braking zone. As Charles Leclerc then, not too sure what that was all about. Just turned in and was never willing to back out of it. We had to try and slam on the anchors there, otherwise we could have completely turned him around, but that's not going to stop me going for it again. Down in towards turn 4, Charles Leclerc parks it in the middle of the road, but round the outside we go. And not too sure what Charles Leclerc was trying there, but we have pulled off the move.
As things stand, we'll be 3rd in the championship.
Oh, what's happened to one of the Red Bulls? Sergio Perez might have issues here. Has he looped it round by himself? What's happened to Sergio Perez? As he's made a mistake. Doesn't seem to have cost him the position, but we're now only 3 seconds back. And if we jump Perez here, there could still be the slightest chance that we jump Yuki Tsunoda in the Drivers' Championship there. I think Yuki's still in P7, so that would mean 2nd versus 7th is 12 points. We'd be tied leaving into Lagos here, so it would be by virtue of wins. Not too sure who would take that one, but Perez still, yeah, 3 seconds up the road there is a very uncharacteristic mistake from the very experienced Checo Perez. 3 laps to go then here from Interlagos, and I can't help but wonder if just Sergio Perez is giving me a bit of false hope.
2.4 seconds.
Gap is still coming down to Checo ever so slightly, but I'm not sure we're going to have enough by the end of the race there, as that Red Bull is still, yeah, looking mighty fast. He has got slightly older tyres than me, but Checo again, the tyre-saving king, so not optimistic as these rears are just starting to slide around a little bit more as desperation sets in. Perez, yeah, now just starting to use a bit more of his deploy on the battery. You can see the gap's just not coming down in the same way it once was down the start-finish straight.
15.6 seconds.
But yeah, like I said though, just a few laps ago, really, I think for us, if we want to put up a championship challenge in Season 5, it's going to have to be our qualifying form that improves. You know, race pace was certainly right there with all of our competitors, but it's just qualifying. We need to be right at the front, so we don't have to spend the first quarter of our race trying to battle our way through the midfield cars there. Oh, Max Verstappen! He's looped it round as well, so both Red Bulls with issues late on in this Grand Prix there. Max Verstappen's gone round. And is he going to be able to rejoin the circuit in time? I think he is. I mean, he had a 20-second lead. Surely the Red Bull's going to be back on the road. Starting the final lap then. What a season it's been, though, in the end there. This final race result isn't exactly going to tell the full story of this race. Red Bull were miles ahead before both of their drivers managed to loop it.
Final lap of the race.
Charles Leclerc now still trying to lean all over the back of me, but yeah, it's just been so consistent from us. The only time I think we finished outside the top 7 was, of course, that gutting retirement back at the Italian Grand Prix there. But apart from that, yeah, it's been consistent results. First half of the year, we're just completely trying to outperform the car, drag it to results it probably didn't deserve early on in the campaign with JB as our teammate. Of course, he took the team's first podium all the way back at Portimao. But into the final stages of this year, we've got a completely maxed out car now. We've got some durability rule changes, so we're not going to see much of a performance flux before we dive into next season. But it is only going to be P3 in the Drivers' World Championship unless something catastrophic happens to Yuki Tsunoda in the dying corners of this season. What is that from Robert Schwartzman there? That's going to leave us vulnerable from Charles Leclerc as we head out of the final corner here. Max Verstappen, though, takes home the dub. And is Schwartzman about to cost us the podium in the final race? Yes, he is. Schwartzman, what are you doing?
That's it. What a season. Great work this year. Really great work. It's been hard at times, but we've come through.
It's been a roller coaster season then, but they can go into the winter with their heads held high after an emphatic victory here today. Talk to me, Ants. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
Well, this was a real team victory. They put together a solid strategy today that appeared well suited to the conditions out on track. The driver did everything that was expected of them in the moment to really execute the team's plan to perfection, a shining example of how F1 really is a team sport.
Here come today's winners. The team at Red Bull have done a phenomenal job recently. It's clear to see that they've put in the work and they should be proud of the victory they secured here. Some amazing talents out on the track today, but Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
I have to give it to Mr. Monaco. They fought so hard and had incredible pace at times, so I don't think anyone else did a better job today.
And it's another title in the bag for Red Bull. After a long and hard-fought season, they built an astonishing car this year, and the glory they'll be taking back to Milton Keynes is fully deserved. Well, Ant, an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
Well, there we are then, guys. The end of the finale for Season 4 here of the F1 2021 My Team Career Mode. And Red Bull and Max Verstappen, our 1-2 certainly sets the tone as we set into next year there. Max Verstappen, pole position, fastest lap, race victory, 26 points, done and dusted. It's light work for the young Dutchman there, who finally becomes an F1 champion there. His teammate Sergio Perez, though, he's looking rather strong and formidable as we head into Season 5. Maybe a bit of a dark horse is young Checo there. But Charles Leclerc robbed us of that podium at the line there. I'm certainly not happy with Robert Schwartzman. It would have been nice to take home some silverware after such a solid campaign it has been there. Just under 2 tenths separated me and both of the Ferraris there at the end of the day. Carlos Sainz in 5th place there. Hamilton down in 6th. Yuki Tsunoda in 7th place there. Means we just don't quite take enough out of him come the end of the year there. Bottas in 8th. Lando in 9th there. From 9th on the grid. A very disappointing day for him. Just got stuck around the McLaren all day long there, with Gasly picking up another point to finish off the year for himself there. Stroll ahead of Guan Yu Zhou, Ricciardo, Russell, Ocon and Mazepin there from 6th and 7th on the grid to 15th and 16th at the end of the day there. And then both Williams, Haas and Alfa Romeos ending up laps down there. Giovinazzi, the only man not to make it to the checkered flag there. Championship-wise, though, you can see, yet there was just 6 points between myself and Tsunoda come the end of the year there. So that loss of position down at the checkered flag there didn't really cost me all too much when all is said and done there. Perez was only 10 points behind us there. Hamilton goes from 10 titles in a row to 5th place in the season there. A disappointing end to what has been such a formidable run from Lewis in recent campaigns there. Charles Leclerc just pips Pierre Gasly at the post there, so that podium was important for Charles Leclerc there as he wraps up 6th place in the championship there, jumping both Gasly and Ricciardo there. Lando Norris outscored Jenson Button by just 1 point come the end of the year there. Carlos Sainz does beat out Valtteri Bottas as well by a solitary point as well, so plenty of movement up and down the order there. You can see Callum Ilott, after such a strong start to the year, down in 13th place there ahead of Guan Yu Zhou there. The Aston Martins 15th and 16th there. Stroll actually outscoring George Russell there. Latifi got points for Williams as well. Nikita Mazepin got points for Alpine there. And then Ocon, both Alphas and both Haas, the only cars not to score points come the end of the campaign there. 19 points still behind Mercedes after the final race means, yeah, we didn't gain anything, we didn't lose anything to them come the end of the year there. Red Bull out on top, 97 points clear at the end of the year there. McLaren did hold on to P4 ahead of Ferrari. That was a good job done by them, considering how strong Ferrari were come the end of the year there. And AlphaTauri in 6th place there, 99 points clear of Aston Martin, who were the next team behind them there. Pretty much all of those points courtesy of Pierre Gasly there come the end of the season. Williams in 8th, Alpine in 9th, and then Alpha and Haas both not scoring come the end of the season. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, do make sure you leave a like and get yourself subscribed. Of course, we're going to go back and finish off Season 1 of the Williams Road to Glory. And then, yeah, it'll be back racing. Season 5 pre-season testing and driver transfer news will be coming by the end of the week there. But thank you all as well so much for the insane support. And yeah, I'll see you guys very, very soon for Season 5 of the My Team Career Mode. You guys do not want to miss it. As always, a massive thank you to all of our channel members for helping continue supporting the channel and making all of these videos possible. You can join them by just clicking the join button down below. So a massive thank you to The Travesty, Patrick, Chuan, David, Ben, Aiden, Estasios, Kato, Sean, McBlam, Mighty Spork, William, Nanon, Ryan, and Pro Dark Shin for becoming members of the channel.